Welcome back everybody to LW&C with VSDC. We're going to call this the man in the moon. This is about clipping masks though. What you see here on the screen is a picture of a pyramid. And over here you see what looks like the sun, perhaps with the sun rays coming out. But actually this is a lens flare that I added into the picture, which you see right there. Okay, so that's going to be our background image. This is not the clipping mask. This is going to be our background image. Now, when I talked about the clipping mask, I said you need at least two objects. Okay, so let's get our two objects here. We're going to take the moon. Okay, and we're going to put the moon in there. And the other object, of course, is going to be our man that we're going to put in there. But first, let's just put our moon in. So we're going to take our moon and we're just going to drag him and drop him in there. And we're going to make sure that it's the same length as the other one. I want it for the entire video. Okay. Now, so we want to take our moon and we want to put it on the top. So we want to select our moon. Then we want to right click on it, go up to order, and we want it to be on the top. So we're going to put bring to top. Left click on that, and it puts it on the top so we can see our moon. So now that we have that, then let's go ahead and put our man in the moon. Now that'd probably be a good idea, right? But before we do that, let me explain something to you. Remember, we did a video a while back, and I talked about making sure that your Pong image was completely transparent. Well, that's the case with this here. You can see that our Pong image is completely transparent. I mean, the image itself isn't transparent, but the background behind it is. If I move it over here, you can see that there's no background to it. So it is completely transparent. Let me move that back over there. Okay. So now we know that our moon is completely transparent. Let's make it a clipping mask. Now, in the case of this, adding the clipping mask, you can either double click it or you can just single click it. It doesn't matter, just so long as you make sure it's selected. Okay, so I left clicked on it. And I come up here to video effects. And then I come over here to down to transparency, and I come over here to clipping. Left click on clipping. And I want it from, I can go whole parent duration from start of the scene, and add new layer. I can select either one of those that I want. My cursor's at the position, so I could at the beginning, so I could even put it there. But I want it, like I said, I want it for the whole time. So that's my point. I just want it for the whole time. So I'm gonna go ahead and click from start of the scene just to make sure it goes there. And I'm going to click add new layer. And so my clipping mask is there. Now you see that this appeared down here. Let me show you something. Okay, when you see this, when you go back to scene, all you see here is the moon and you see the background image. Matter of fact, let me name those so we know what we're doing here. And we're going to call that background. Matter of fact, let's just call it pyramid. Pyramid. And the other one we're going to call the moon, of course. That makes sense, right? The moon. Alright, there we go. Okay. So, okay, everything's straight there. So now we want to, as I was saying, you notice that these two things are down here. You don't see that clipping mask that I added. That's because VSDC uses what they call nested clipping masks. The clipping mask is down here in the timeline, but it's under moon. It's under the moon image, or it's in the moon image. And when you talk about that, when you really consider what you're saying, you're making a sprite, because is contained inside of one thing, and a sprite is a collection of objects or effects or whatever. So that's what this video down here is. That's a sprite, and that's what this right here is. It's actually a sprite. Okay, so now anyway, let me get back to what I was saying. On the moon, let's double click on the moon, and here we have our clipping mask. Let's double click on clipping mask, and we're gonna put our man that we're gonna put in the moon, we're gonna put him in there. And so as I said, that means our man is gonna be under or inside of the clipping mask. So now we're gonna go on up here and we're gonna add video right there, and we're gonna come over here and we're gonna add our man. Left click on him and open. Objects position settings window opens. We're gonna go from start of the scene. You know, I like to do from start of the scene just to make sure I'm putting him at the beginning, and then hit OK. And there's my man. The man is now in the moon. Now we can either leave him like that. Let me play it real quick and let you see what we got. We can either leave him like that. Well, of course I don't want to leave him like that because I want to put him. I don't want to leave him there because I want to put him over here. Okay, so let me stop that. But we could if that's what you wanted to do, but that's not what I want to do. We want to take our man in the moon and we want to put him over there. So what we want to do is we want to move our clipping mask. So our clipping mask is inside of man in the moon. Am I correct? Right. So then we want to click on the clipping mask, and we want to take that mask and move it over there on top of that. Next thing we want to do is we want to resize that because it's too big. We're going to take him, shrink him down some, move him back over there. Let's see how big we want him. We want to, I think that size right there is about right. Okay, so we're going to leave him like that, and we're going to see what we got. Okay, now what I don't like about this is our man in the moon is not centered in our video very well, right? So what we want to do is we want to come over here, we want to double click on the clipping mask, and we want to click on our young fellow, and we want to move him to where we want him. So we hover our mouse over the arrows and we adjust them to where we want. Well, we see that that's making him big, and you kind of got to fool with these here because it doesn't move just like you want it to move actually. I mean, not just the way I want it to move anyway. Some things make it bigger. Some of the arrows make it different, so you're kind of gonna have to fool with it and get a feel with how to size the things the way you want them to be sized. But I think I'm gonna leave it like that right now and go back and see what we got here. Yeah, not too bad. I kind of like that. That's good. That's a good man in the moon, I think. Now there's some things you can do also in the video effects. You can add some other things. Select whichever thing you want to fool. If you want to mess with the moon, you can add a quick style to it or something. Quick style, something like that, maybe, if you want. And make sure all of these are the same length. That's the same length. 0, 0, 10, 400. 0, 0, 10, 400. Play my video. There's my man in the moon. Let me see. What I can do, I believe, when you can come up here and you can do something like solarize, and click solarize, of course, for the whole parent duration, and add a new layer, and you can do some things with it from there that I think is pretty good. Let's see. And let's see what we got. It's pretty cool. Yeah, it's all kind of neat little things you can do with this here. VSDC got some amazing stuff, I mean to tell you. Yeah, let's give it a solar eyes. Let's come back over here, left click on the moon, double click on the moon palm, double click on the clipping mask, and select their man, or man in the moon. And matter of fact, let me name that man in the moon first. Man in the moon. Okay. And hit enter. Alright. Now, I'm going to select him, and we're going to come up here to video effects, left click on video effects, come over to brightness, contrast, and gamma. Alright, and we're going to do it from the cursor position. No, we're going to do it for the whole parent duration, because I don't, you know me. And we're going to go, okay. Alright, and you see what it did to him, and I kind of like that. So, let's see what we got here. Now let's make some adjustments on it. Let's go to brightness levels. Brightness. Make it a little bit brighter. Yeah, I like that. Okay, maybe bring it down just another touch. Okay. Maybe a little bit too bright. Let's bring him down some. Let's see. Too dark. That's probably better. See what gamma will do for us. Yeah, that might be good. Let's see. Yeah, I kind of like that. Okay, so that's what we got. I'm gonna play this whole thing through, see what we got. I mean, there's other things that you can do with it. You can adjust things and make it more suitable to you, how you like it. One thing about VSDC, there's a lot of things you can do with it. You just fool around with the, with the things, the settings and everything, and you can get a lot of good stuff. Okay, we're done with this for now, but the main thing I wanted to show you, as I said before, is that, how to make the clipping mask, which is you have your image, which was, in our case, it was the moon, and you make a clipping mask, you put a clipping mask inside of it, and then you double click on your clipping mask, and then you add your video inside of it. And then you make your adjustments, however you want. Like in this case, I had it there, and I moved it, and I put it over there, positioned it the way that I needed. And then after that, then I made my, my editing functions to the video that was in the clipping mask. You don't necessarily have to do some of those things in that order. The important thing about it is that you really need to have a Pong file, and you need to make sure the background of that Pong file is completely transparent. That's why I made that other video about your Pong files. And the other thing is that your clipping mask goes inside of your inside of that image, and the other video, or the video, goes inside of that clipping mask. Okay, so now you know how to make it and you know how to use it in your project. One other thing too, while I'm thinking about it, remember this too. Once you get that clipping mask made, if you want to move the whole clipping mask, you need to come here to clipping mask and move it. Okay? Because if you can't, if you think you're going to move the image by itself, you're not. When you come to the video, I should say, and you move it, you're not moving that. So if you want to move it, you need to come to the clipping mask because it's contained in the clipping mask. Okay, everybody. Well, okay, everybody. Thanks for coming back to LW&C with VSDC, and we'll talk to you later on. I hope you can use what we demonstrated here today. Bye-bye.